Barbara Jane Reyes, Lorna Dee Cervantes, Oscar, when Emplumada was published, it was a passionate lyric poet, and I remember when Lorna read at Cody's, whenever that was, however long ago, I was tuned in for that. There's also, that was followed by From the Cables of Genocide, poems of love and hunger. And, but I remember when she read at Cody's, I was looking for that lyric voice, and instead there was a kick-ass political poet. She was reading from Drive, which actually has 5 different books and many different kinds of poems. But now we've got Ciento, a completely different thing. This is 100 word love poems. And as is pointed out at the back, Ciento, spelled this way, means 100, but it also could mean I feel, if you were to spell it differently. And these poems are each 100 words. Some of them are funny. There's like 100 words to my ass, 100 words to Google. But they're like an extract of feeling. And there's just the pure spin of these words and the kind of a form that you discover behind, because you've got 100 words. So there's a brand new book, Lorna Dee Cervantes. Let's give her a round.
Thank you. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Richard. Thank you all for coming. It's always a pleasure. You know, I think I've only read for Poetry Flash once before. Maybe twice if I did do an Emplumada reading, and that would have been like early on in 81.
I had read Emplumada.
Yeah, because I think I only actually did an official Poetry Flash reading at Cody's once when Drive came out. So I'm really happy to be here. And at that reading 5 years ago, Joyce asked me to read again sometime and who I would like to read with. And I said, Barbara Jane Reyes. And then the book was delayed, and by that time, I think Barbara was in between books or had read already for the series. So one of the fun things about running a series, as you know, is being able to match poets, you know, and thinking about these individual voices and how they weave together and how they've actually influenced each other. Because I've been watching this girl since she was a girl, way back. And I thought, yes, a poeta de San Francisco. I'm also a poeta de San Francisco, having been born there. My father and his wife, Susan Cervantes, started the Presida Eyes Mural Center. So the Mission District is, you know, in the heart of me. And so I thought, well, that would be cool, you know, like a younger generation and an older generation. So if you don't know the other books, and if you're a scholarly type, this book has just come out, Stunned into Being, Essays on the Poetry of Lorna Dee Cervantes. I'll warn you, it's a sad story, but I already know how it ends. So it's weird when people write about you, you know, and it was even weirder because they didn't give me the galleys, you know. They didn't trust me with the galleys. So I never actually read this book until last month. And so I had to write a poem for it. And this is called The Latin Girl Speaks of Rivers. And I have a few copies of these here. And of course, A Latin Girl Speaks of Rivers is after a poem by Langston Hughes, The Negro Speaks of Rivers. because this book, going back to my early poetry as well as the novels that I'm writing, a young adult novel and a novel set here in Berkeley, among other places, Bay Area, San Francisco, San Jose, Santa Cruz. I'm kind of stuck in this 14-year-old mind frame. So this is The Latin Girl Speaks of Rivers. When I wrote about the Serpentine River, I was really writing about a rape. When I wrote about the moon over an oak tree, I was writing about a pre-teen pregnancy. When I wrote about the crystalline sea, I was writing all the horror around me into intricate filigree. I was writing my heart out. I was writing myself back in. When I wrote about heart, I imagined a muscle of infinite distance, of the brave little choo-choo times 10. I was dreaming of a heart-shaped boat, an extension of my past, my trapped beginnings. When I wrote of a river, it was one I could get myself into twice. It was wide as an Anglo-dammed Nile, long as the Negro Mississippi. I wanted to wrench myself a new closure. I wanted the tourniquet and the cannon. I wanted the white water to sail me to a place where the journey never ends. Instead of the endless fluid nights, I wanted the fissures to heal of their own magma. I wanted something of the banks to make clay, to make me a setting at someone's bountiful table. I wanted real silver on the plates of that liquid path. I wanted its icy skin to burn against mine, to cleave with each lap and run like the fallen log I was. I wanted the box of my childhood to open. I wrote longing in some minor key about a crystalline river, about the telling moon, about a single leaf that could carry me home, about the knowing sea, about me. And I have a brand new book coming out, also from Wings Press, in San Antonio, one of the oldest literary presses around. And I'm happy to have my last 3, now 4 books published by them. This is a book called Ciento, 30-something of the cruelest. And one of the things I've been doing, I guess for about the last 10 years, beginning with Drive, is really stepping away from myself. There was a strategy to Emplamada to have it be accessible and to document my personal history that was not being documented in any of the official forms of history, or even herstory at that point in time. So I've sort of been backing away doing docu-poems in Drive, the long poem Coffee, long poem Bananas, they're all online, as well as in the book, and certainly Ciento, which I'll be reading from 100 word love poems, all mostly poems written when I was not in love, and not to anybody or about anything. Instead, I would go to this website every Thursday and get a word, and I wouldn't know what the word was, and all I knew is I had to write 100 words on that word, and then I figured just to make it harder on myself, it had to be a love poem, whatever word it was. And so, and then now this book, Ciento, 30-something of the cruelest. April is the cruelest month. And in April, coming up, NaPoWriMo, National Poetry Writing Month. You can join online and you can write a poem every day for the month of April, knowing it does not have to be a good poem. It just has to be a poem. So once again, I would do this exercise with my students where we would put a word in a hat or a phrase in a hat, pull it out, write a poem. So I had these little pieces of paper scattered around my office that I would pull from every day in the month of April. And then I would go to this site, oneword.com. You could go to oneword.com. It's got a cute little rainbow 3-minute, timer there, and it gives you a word every day, oneword.com. So that's what this book is, 30-something of the cruelest. Here's one. How to get a car wash. Take a $5 bill, fold it, throw it away. Take a penny, scold it, make it pay, and then spend it. Take a chance, hold it to your heart, blow on it, send it to a friend. Take a moment, extol it, breathe fire into its face. Face it, then forget it. All the way the highways go, drive them in a silver sedan. Ride past the grandmother with the palsy gait, the old man shuffler by the wooden crate, the child holding a blue balloon waiting by the grate. Forget them. Remember passion. Remember where you put your keys. Recall registers ringing on Christmas Eve. Record voices and shrill sounds still ringing in the leaden ear. Then pay the master, pay the slave, fill up on tanks of rage and rest, gun the engines of your folly, flee towards the second best, the third eye, the favored relative, the sullen child cheered by snow. Feel your way back to the second crossing, and there, by the fresh grave in the mirror, open the hoses, shine the chromy cheeks, polish the head, and care. White walls are great for poetry. Chewy came late, or not at all. He pissed off the principal and pulled the hair of the pretty chola by the choya. He dissed his homework, fed the chinchilla barbecued Doritos until it died after excreting a brilliant orange mound of dust. He jabbed the janitor in the face with his pencil, then furrowed the brow of the browbeaten teacher. All the classics passed him by, all the books with spines he let fly. He broke the headlights of the head cheerleader's car and then slingshot the lights in the parking lot. He stole all the hot dogs from the cafeteria and then ate all the strawberry popsicles too. And afterwards, he picked up a pen and followed his fate. He scrambled up the scribble, letting long vowels and longing go chomping at the gate. His open hand, his heart in a great O of wonder. Oh, white walls are great for poetry. Wow. Friendly fire. He was the friendliest fire you'll ever meet. The burning brow, hawk-like, eagle-eyed and splendid, black wings opening when he looked at you, stunning in the view. He had a vein constricted at the temple, a single throb pulse of rage before he hit you. The most beautiful man you'll ever meet, full of I love yous and honey, the stick and sweet spoil of summer sweating off that brow. He'll knead you, he'll time you, ride you till it hurts, be a word he doesn't speak, a turn of phrase in French, something foreign to this land, the red dirt that birthed him, first son of a civilized tribe. He was the most too good to be true you'd ever seen, and then you vanished under a lump on your head the size of an apricot, plum-colored, plush. Just you, first nation penalty. He was the friendliest fire you had ever smoked. He was the quickest burn in an underground forest of men. He was the timber, a tender fire, and going down in flames. And this is for my hero, my long-term hero, long-time hero to that 14-year-old girl, 15-year-old girl who first heard her singing on Chris Strachowic's show, KPFA radio, back in the days when you can hear an Indian raga, and then you can hear some blues, and then you can hear some Grateful Dead, and then you can hear a Mozart sonata, and then you can hear Memphis Minnie all night long. This is a poem from Memphis Minnie, Sweet Sugar on Brown Dresses. Memphis Minnie stole the show, twanging and wailing on her electric guitar, making the train sing through the blood of the dancers, their sewing machines stitching brown uniforms into souls through their steps, the dance taking the hand of sorrow for a spin. She would plan the great escape, sojourner searching for her truth, all gussied up and settling for a six-string happiness. Next train to Clarksville. It's a long walk home. I've been there. That taxi ride cross town with a Pakistani driver who was born there. Sure, he said, the newspaper just ran a big spread on her. Her stance, her grinning gold, the accents of her indigenous brows, even near death, a face and the paralyzed hands folded on the porch in Memphis. Another photograph, another kind of home, far from the stockyards, the killing pens, the sundown laws. It was not that my man done left me, that pleading through the night. It was that I hate to see that evening sun go down, when the law had the right to arrest you, you, an unaccompanied negress, rape you, beat you, sterilize you, and abort your child when the sun go down. University towns are all the same. I used to hang out in Berkeley, and then for 20 years I was teaching at CU Boulder, loving those mountains there. And this is a poem I wrote in April, the cruelest month. And I'm sure you see it here in Berkeley. Kitchen grief. See the buzzards over Boulder today? Dead hot, earthquake weather. If it'd been on the coast, circling, calculation. What station the next body lay? The birds above the quad, over the head of the upturned Dalton, trumbos all handed, all heart mission. The bay of sky opening to the merchant ships, the clouds, the few skiffs of passion still lingering around the campus. Jesse dead, but not yet buried, laid out today, his boyish laugh laid to rest. Un sueño in a glass of remembrance, the promise of spring heavy as the odor of a hungover senior. All the misconceptions loaded in a carafe of courage. These bold plans, now a kitchen of grief, the feasting yet to come. And a single contract is signed with a pledge of loyalty and a drink to that as the buzzards of Boulder move up for a closer inspection in this season of suicide and failing grades. A full-blown something laid to nest beside the roadside, a ring of caps, a circle of camps. And maybe a couple couple more from this. It's so fun to read. This is a brand new book, so it's like, yeah, why not? Burial. Under the burning stones, between the skins of mud flats and clay tablets of a trash abandoned river, I see you, mounds of the living under the flesh of the dead, piquant wafts of your shreds, the ragged flags, a putrid longing to belong, to sing once again a hallowed song of self in a place under the open freeway lanes, a voice in the rush of rush, a bare tunnel asking the question, what is buried here? Who thrusts out among the living chalk? Who answers an unasked question? All of America is an Indian burial mound. Tiny. This is dedicated to my homegirls in San Jose. Tiny watched out the side of her mouth, talked out of turn, her sinuous sorrow tied up in a bundle of charm. Her tattooed arms, a guest register in ink, the ball-penned manner, the eloquent script, the medieval illuminations pinned in pink. She never left off or ever let it go. The Vario bulldog, a so-and-so. She taped her bangs into letters, formed us troops. She's still there, 15 years of pleasure, ripped R.I.P. And, okay. That was Sueño, Dream, 30-something of the cruelest. And now, Ciento, which also not just means 100, but is the word for like 101, 102, 100 and you. You know, it implies that there's something else that should be there. Ciento, besides I feel, 100 word love poem. So, what's your favorite number from 1 to 100? Shout it out.
24.
24, 24. Beware, this is like tarot cards. Who wanted 24? Ah, 24. 100 words to be pixelated by you. When I first got this word pixelated, I didn't know what it meant. I figured it was like the little dots, you know, in your television, digital, right? You know, but instead it's a word that means when you drink too much wine, you know, you get pixelated. You know, like with the pink elephants and the cartoons and the little bubbles and the guys all like that, you know, that's pixelated. I want to be pixelated, Twitter-pated by you. I want to be rounded up and eaten, drunk on the express hunger of your mess. Buy me 100 ways into your heart. Sell me 100 tickets to your whole lotto love. I want to stay for the whole show, chew up the scenery, dance on the dinner plates. I see pixies in your eyes, your sensuous lips. I want to wade too far into the current, certified and surrendered. I want to watch as my body drifts too far out in the throes to live in you, close to the heart. Another one. 7. Radiant. 100 words to radiant. You, in the radiant crepuscular light, your succulent heart, sex-sucked lips, your twining hair, all halo and sash, your fill like the hummingbird, suckle, stay. I am radiant to imagine you, half animal, half staff of ember, your lightning rays of mirth, unimaginable in the dark, in other than holding you. In a spirit land, whisked away to grace my hand, the giving night, the airy dawn, the awakening from withdrawal. As the valley hunkers, mist hangs around her love. River, I flow with you, fog struck and caught in your aperture, your appetite for me, your blessing kiss eyes, wind-struck, radiant. Another one.
89.
51. Restraint. As I said, these poems are not for anyone at all, except for a couple, which are elegies during, this is 100 Words of Restraint for a Berkeley poet, an elegy for a Berkeley poet, Alfred Arteaga. 100 Words of Restraint. Oh, I have to say he grew up in my neighborhood. I mean, he in San Jose, we met in San Jose in like 1973. 100 Words of Restraint, an elegy. How much hope we had. Restraint was how we grew, ever twining our long way out of there, intertwining sans desire. You, a golden lotus. Oh, I have to say, he was a race car driver, and he had a golden yellow lotus. You, a golden lotus, darling. How you fit that warm shoe, darling. You wore that new car scent, crisp and sweet, succulent for a man. Did I covet you like the rest? I shouldered my restraint. Strapped into you, how could I escape that ejection seat? This far from you, without restraint, I'll say it, how I loved you, how death did us part. You were my heart, de veras, carnal, corazón, and at last, we gave us our past. Another one?
89.
89. You know, when I graduated from high school, I vowed never to think in numbers. So, you know, these are not connected to numbers or anything, and people started asking me, well, did you count the numbers, you know, did you count the words as you were doing it? And no, I think the first couple of them, and then what I did is I just did like 5 words per line, and then it all got to be the same size, and sometimes it would insist on a form, and sometimes not, but anyways, I didn't have to think about the numbers, and I don't know the numbers of the poems, but I insisted that the publisher put the numbers in these little chumash thing, glyph for sun that's in the caves. I'm chumash from Santa Barbara, partly my grandmother said. 100 Words for a Star. Who wanted this one?
Me.
Oh, you did. 100 Words for a Star. It was in the stars, a falling star foretold you. Venus was an incoming plane, colliding with Mars, and Jupiter, a single hot eye in the moonless sky. I wished for you, but never got on board. Last ticket to paradise, a missed opportunity. You, smile, a constellation I use to find me. Who will find me? Navigation by heart, your dusty trail, a rumor in the mill of heaven. I follow your orbit, circling you in a cosmic dance, hundreds of light years until tomorrow, until your ghostly touch, hundreds of broken hearts before Venus comes in for a landing. Like I said, these are like tarot cards. Anyone else? Dare?
99.
99? Who's that? John Oliver? Oh no, you? 99? 99. The second to last. Yeah, I guess I got about to 60 of these, and thought I started reading the back. posting them anonymously. I wasn't thinking anybody was going to read them, hence the 100 words to my ass, right? You know, but after a while I realized, oh, I'll do a book of these. I'll stop at 100, and these are all exactly every week. There's no, they're chronological, so it's 100 weeks, what is it, a year and 3 quarters or whatever. Like I said, I don't think in numbers. 99, 100 words to your shelter. I love how you shelter me, the warmth within your hearth, all that wood you had stored. I love all that wilderness in the heart of you, all that uncut lumber just waiting for my touch. I love the human path of you, all that tramping to get there here, where a river runs through it, a shelter of smoke, of sensuous ribbons of past. Let me demonstrate. I will lay down my arms, play dead for you, wait for resurrection. Take me. I know a road clear to there. It will get us to where we will last. And I'd like to end with a brand new poem, as well as invite you, if you venture and have enough gas to get across the bay. I'm doing an iPad reading. Oh, this is cool. It it's magnetic, so it sticks to the. Wow. How cool is that? Anyway, if you have enough gas and gumption and only make it across the bay once a month, I encourage you all to come the first Wednesday of every month. I'm hosting a brand new series at a brand new used bookstore, Alley Cat Books on 24th Street, 3036 24th Street, across from Modern Times Books, the first place I ever did a reading, Modern Times Books, when Plumata came out. My first San Francisco reading was there. So we just had a reading with myself and Jim Powell over there in the back. You ever want to bring me back? Me and Jim Powell make a good team. Yeah. So April 4th, first Wednesday of the month, for free, Shadi Moraga and Sandra Cisneros and myself. The three, I mean, not Sandra Cisneros, what am I saying? Sandra, I just saw Sandra the other day in Texas. Sharon Dubiago, Sharon Dubiago, Shadi Moraga, and myself for free, Alley Cat Books, 3036 24th Street, 6 to 8 p.m. You could go dancing afterwards, go catch some jazz, Yoshis, whatever you want to do. Right? Get a good burrito on the mission. What's that?
They're open.
They're what?
Open.
Oh, duh, yeah, open mic, first Wednesday of every month. Please come down to Alley Cat Books in the Mission and join us. Barbara Jane Reyes, I don't know if you confirmed you're on that list, aren't you? I'm sure you are.
I might be.
Yeah, I sent you probably to an old email or something. But anyway. I just came back from San Antonio on my own ticket. I am the new I am this year's UC Regents lecturer. It's a great honor, and I'm housed in Berkeley in the English department. Thank you. I'm pleased about it. That 14-year-old girl inside of here is just really, really super pleased because she used to go hug those trees every weekend. But anyway, and dream about, someday going to school there, but anyway, and I'll be reading there April 6th for the commemoration of, 40 years of Quinto Sol Press there. But anyway, Chicano literature, 40 years, beginning with Quinto Sol Press, 45 years? Something like that. 45 years, I think it is. I dedicated most of my life to publishing Chicano writers like Barbara Jane Reyes. Not that I published her, but I just want to say to be Chicana is a state of consciousness, an awareness of occupied land, an awareness of your history, an awareness of your indigeneity, an awareness of the Americas, and that we come from the four corners and we're here. Anyway, a lot of things have been happening in Tucson, as you know. Recently, HB, House Bill 2281, Tucson Unified School Districts went into middle schools and high schools during the classes where classes were in session, boxed up books like Sandra Cisneros' House on Mango Street. My Press Mango was the first to publish Sandra Cisneros, little chapbook, kind of discovered her. Jimmy Santiago Baca, also another one, Mango. Ray Gonzalez, Carmen Tafoya, you know, and other honorary Chicanas like Henry David Thoreau of Civil Disobedience, William Shakespeare of The Tempest and Just the Tempest. We don't want those uppity slaves getting any ideas, right? You know, runaway slaves. Paulo Freire, Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Sherman Alexie, these books right over here. All Sherman Alexie's books banned from the Unified School District Tucson, and a zillion anthologies that I'm in. And all of these writers I dedicated my life to, and of these writers who inspired me, Rudolfo Anaya, Tomas Rivera, all of these books boxed up. Jose Antonio Burciaga, another poet I published. You know, Luis Urrea, a poet I taught. Was my graduate student at CU Boulder. Those, all of his books, you know, and he's got books about being a Catholic worker and working on the dumps in Tijuana and writing about the border issues. I mean, controversial, come on. Sandra Cisneros' House on Mango Street, red shoes, come on. What's controversial about that? That's overthrowing the government, that's terrorism, that's profanity, that's, you know. Anyway, and these poems, my poems that are in these anthologies are in the SATs. So no more ethnic studies, no more Mexican American studies class, no more of these textbooks where they would find my poem in there. So if they are not exposed to these and House on Mango Street and these other works, if they're not exposed to this, then they're going to miss the test on the SAT, whereas the advanced placement kids, which are all the white kids or whatever, you know, okay, they get to, you know, it's not banned in there, but it's banned in Mexican. Anyway, so it's a big issue. So I went down, there's a caravan distributing, libro traficante, like narcotraficantes, you know. Libro traficante, we're bringing banned books into Arizona. So it's a caravan that started in Houston up to San Antonio, so I just came back from San Antonio. It's in Albuquerque right now, so they're reading right now in Albuquerque for this thing. Luis Urrea, I just read with Sandra Cisneros just the other day, so I wrote a poem for this. A Chicano poem. They tried to take our words, steal away our hearts under their imaginary shawls, their laws, their libros, their líbranos, señores. No more. They tried to take away our spirit in the rock, the mountain, the living waters. They tried to steal our languages, our grandmothers' packs, our magma cartas for their own serfs. They razed the land and raised a constitution, declared others 3/5 a human being, snapped shackles, cut off a foot, raped our grandmothers into near mute oblivion. They burned the sacred codices, and the molten goddesses rose anew in their flames. They tried to silence a nation, tried to send the people back to the four corners of the world. They drew a line in the sand and dared us to cross it, tried to peel off our skins, Chipetotecs screaming through our indigenous consciousness. They tried to brand America into our unread flesh, the skull and crossbones flying at half-mast. They tried to put their eggs in our baskets, tried to weave the native out of us with their drink and drugs, tried to switch their mammy-raised offspring, beaded and unshaven as the colorless pea, under our mattresses in a cultural bait and switch, hook and bait. They tried to take our words, give us the Spanish translation for pain, serve us the host of fallow fields on a china plate, stripped us of the germ and seed, fed us in a steady diet of disease and famine. Where is the word for tomorrow to the dead? When is our kingdom come? They claim our reclamations, our reparations, a thing of our imaginations. I discover this truth to be self-evident. In the beginning, we were here. I declare us here today and speaking. Thank you.